Antonia. Good afternoon, everyone. It is my great pleasure to welcome you in our virtual aula. Let me present the Institute of Heritage Science that is supporting Antonia for the coordination of this project. The Institute is an institute of the National Research Council of Italy and is an interdisciplinary center for research, innovation, and technological transfer in the field of cultural heritage. We are dealing with conservation, we are dealing with understanding, management of cultural heritage, tangible and intangible. And for doing that, we have the opportunity to work together among researchers coming from these different disciplines, from humanities and STEM. As you can see here, Antonia is from architecture, economic field. I am personally from chemistry and physics. So you can see really the polychromatic characteristic of our institute that is actually necessary to deal with heritage and with the different meaning that heritage has for the society. So I'm very also proud of this project, TRACE, that is bringing heritage also has an impact value for economic, for society, for the green transition. So I'm really glad to welcome all you, and I'm also wishing you a very fruitful meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Costanza, for being with us, for representing our institute. Thank you for your welcome. And now I give the floor directly to Marco Iaquito, who is the project advisor of the TRACE project. And Marco will speak about the European Commission strategies for tourism, for sustainable tourism in particular, and which are the next programs and next initiatives that will support the European tourism sector to become more sustainable and to enter into the green transition and to the circular economy transition. So Marco, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Antonia. Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, really delighted to be part of this webinar, of this info session devoted to the TRACE project and the open call that is currently published. And thank you very much, Antonia, and to all the TRACE consortium for this invitation. It's very important for us to be there, to be with you. My name is Marco Iaquito, I'm project advisor, and I'm honored to be representing ESMEA, the European Commission, European Innovation Council, and Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises Executive Agency. We are in Brussels, and for those who are not familiar with the European Union, we implement the European Innovation Council and manage other EU program devoted and focused on the EU support and to small and medium-sized enterprises support, innovation, and single market. In particular, in my unit, we deal with the single market program, SMP, which is the successor of the COSME program of the previous financial framework. It is important to keep in mind that the European Commission on one side sets out the policy framework, and that ESMEA and the other executive agencies translate this political orientation into concrete projects and achievement. Needless to be said, tourism sector is really important for the European Union, is really important for European Commission, is really important also for our agency because it contributes to the 10% of the GDP in the European Union and represents also 23 million jobs overall. And part of the tourism industry is basically represented by small and medium-sized enterprises. And it is also important to acknowledge the fact that tourism destination must be able to count on tourism small and medium-sized enterprises in order to flourish, in order to be developed across the EU member states and also beyond. the priority to develop the tourism, and specifically a sustainable tourism model, has been particularly underlined and highlighted since the Lisbon Treaty over 10 years ago. And since then, the European Commission is supporting initiatives, trends relating to fight against the seasonal tourism, facilitate the path towards a green and digital transition, support SMEs in developing innovative and sustainable solutions, also facilitating transnational cooperation, also facilitating knowledge transfer, still taking into account the importance that local ecosystem have in the different countries and also in the different regions. Of course, when we talk about tourism, when we talk about tourism industry, it's important also to underline that such industry has been affected quite heavily recently by the pandemic of the COVID-19, and also by recently the war in Ukraine. So more focus, more priorities, and more attention is given to initiatives and to projects and to action also related to tourism. One important mention, in my opinion, is also the transition pathway for tourism that has been published in February 2022 by the European Commission, that invites the Commission and the Member States, in collaboration, always in collaboration with the relevant stakeholders, to design a European agenda for tourism. In particular, the transition pathway for tourism sets out 27 areas of work to facilitate the green and digital transition. So we see, once again, this very important topic for the European Union, and also for improving the resilience of EU tourism. Amongst the measures, the initiatives, and the priorities, there is a clear investment in circularity to reduce energy, waste, pollution, and water, and at the same time to better meet the increasing demand for sustainable tourism that we see in recent years. The enhancement of data sharing, and also the sharing of best practices, innovative solution among the different tourism services, and also it is important an investment in skills in order to ensure the availability of qualified workforce, and to create an attractive career ecosystem in the tourism industry. Particular focus when we speak about the tourism, of course, is given to the small and medium-sized enterprises, because they are the backbone of the tourism industry, representing the 99.8% of the tourism industry. So you may realize that the importance that small and medium-sized enterprises have in tourism. And what we do together with the European Commission is to try to manage the tourism needs wisely. And it is important for us to launch, promote, and also implement meaningful tourism policies and actions that are also aligned with the prevailing tourism trends. Also because we talk about the green and digital transition, we talk about innovative solution, we talk about reducing waste in water. All those topics sometimes may seem very challenging for the SMEs. We have to be honest also in this. This is the reason also for us, for example, for ISMEA, for our agency, that we support via our dedicated call for proposal the tourism industry, tourism stakeholders, and also the small and medium-sized enterprises. One key message that I like to communicate is that ISMEA, our agency, via such different calls, has regularly provided financing opportunities for tourism stakeholders in the recent past. And here I would like to focus on some numbers, just to give you an idea. In the previous financial framework, in the COSME program, since 2014 until 2020, we have co-financed over 100 tourism projects through 12 different actions, with a total budget of around 27.5 million euros. It's also important to underline that the budget devoted for such call for proposal has raised, for example, namely in 2019 and in 2020. 2019 6 million euros, and 2020 with 9 million euros. And this budget is also increased even more with the new financial program within the framework of the single market program, because in the call in 2021 we had 12 million budget allocated for a call for proposal in tourism, while in 2022 we have allocated 20.5 million euros. That is to say that if we take the full period from 2014 to 2022, we have an attractive total of 60 million euros dedicated to tourism project over an 8-year span duration, which is, in my opinion, really important. Also because it is clear that the trust of the call may vary from year to year. For example, in 2019, it is mainly focused to the recovery from the COVID-19. Needless to say, this was a priority after the outbreak of the COVID-19. But since recent years, and also specifically since 2019, we are providing also directly funding, not only to the tourism stakeholder composing the consortia that are replying to the call for proposal, but also directly to the small and medium-sized enterprises via direct financial support offered to these parties, which is also part of the discussion within today info session via the open call of the Trace project that Antonia, Ruba, and Aliona will further elaborate in a moment. Before closing, it's important also to remind some numbers which are very important also for us. In 2019 and 2020 tourism calls, 16 projects were funded. And in total, around 1,350 SMEs received a grant specifically through these 16 projects. In 2021 tourism call, and Trace is part of those 10 projects that have been funded in 2021 call for proposal. We expect to support a minimum of 800 small and medium-sized enterprises. Of course, there is the direct financial support to the parties, plus the impact that can be generated via such action. Last but not the least, in 2022 tourism call, we have the project that have yet to commence, but we are negotiating the grant agreement, the contracts, the grants with the consortia. But we expect that at least in this case, 50 innovative projects per each project, and 4 innovative projects we mean presented by a single SMEs or a partnership composed by SMEs and other tourism stakeholders. So we expect that at the end of this project period, we will have supported between 600 and 1,200 SMEs. I think the numbers are there for the European Commission, European Union. Tourism is a priority, and it is also a concrete action via the open call to SMEs that are realized via the project that are funded through our call for proposal. Thank you very much. I wish you a good continuation of the webinar. Of course, I will be with you. And without further ado, I will leave the floor now once again to Antonia. Thank you very much on behalf of the European Commission and the ISMEA for the kind invitation.
Okay, thank you very much, Marco. I'm very glad that you gave this introduction. While you were speaking, we were sharing some useful links also for the participants. You will find the transition pathway for tourism, this important document that was mentioned now in the speech of Marco. And you will find also the direct link to the Trace open call if you will have a look. Eventually, some of you have already seen the call, and if you have any question today, we are here to discuss with you, to provide answers also on the process of the application. But now I go directly to the presentation. I think you can see my screen. Okay. So do you
Antonia,
yes.
Antonia, sorry, can you check for the echo, please? There is a small echo.
Now you hear me?
Mm. Try again.
Let's try again. Now?
I hear small echo. Ruba, do you hear also the echo?
Now, no. Try again, Antonia.
Let's try some technical.
Yeah, now it's okay.
Now it's better. Okay, great. Thank you very much for informing me. Okay, so just an overview of the program. You all have received it. We're going into the details of the TRACE action. So TRACE is a European funded project which aims to support directly the European SMEs to build together a European circular tourism ecosystem. How we do it? By building a network of innovative SMEs, innovative tourism and culture SMEs, who will together enhance their capacity to become more sustainable and to align, let's say, with the most important and innovative requirements for next future in the tourism sector. So now I'm giving an overview of the support program that we will provide to the SMEs that will be selected in the open call, which is already available, which will close on the 30th of June. So the deadline is almost in 1 month. While I will give some details, I also suggest to for those who have not yet accessed the call to have a look eventually after this webinar to see how the application form is made. It's not difficult, but it's good to have an overview so that if you have any question, we can answer now. The project consortium is made of 7 partners in different European countries, which are the countries actually eligible for receiving a grant under this program. The National Research Council, we have said, is the coordinator of the project, and we have different partners with different roles. The 2 business support organizations, as I was saying in the start, are Iniziativa Cub, which is today represented by Aliona Lupu, and ISHEC, Protocol ISHEC ECAM ISPC. Which is actually the part of the business school of this group of schools in Brussels. ISHEC will lead the part of the training for the 100 SMEs that we will select. And we have 4 local partners also, which will support the enterprises in the country of Romania, of Cyprus, of Italy, especially in the Basilicata region, but all Italy is eligible, and in Spain. And of course, also Belgium is an eligible country within our project. So all those partners have a specific capacity, specific expertise in the field of sustainable tourism. We have also a consortium which is working on other projects of innovation and also research in other programs of the European Union. So we will be able to provide the selected SMEs with support, capacity, and skills transfer. As you know, all after the COVID outbreak, the situation was changing with the context of tourism in general. The fragility of the tourism sector was kind of exposed, let's say, worldwide. And we have seen that tourists are also becoming, after the COVID pandemic and during it, more and more aware of sustainability, of their impact as well in the destinations and their impact in general of the travels, of the behavioral patterns in tourism in the destinations that they visit. As you see from this figure, the carbon footprint of global tourism was estimated recently by Sustainable Travel International Organization, and we see that half of the carbon footprint derives from the mobility, the transport, but also the other half is related to different activities that are related to tourism, from construction of hotels, for example, accommodation facilities, but also the use of those facilities, services, agriculture, food. All this contributes to the carbon footprint of global tourism. And the aim, the ambition is to reduce this footprint and to reduce in general the impacts, the possible negative impacts of tourism, enhancing on the other side the positive benefits of tourism for different destinations. You see that also, if you're working in the tourism and culture sector, you may have noted that some global platforms such as Booking, TripAdvisor, and others are starting introducing sustainability flag for the choice of the travel, for the choice of accommodation and other different services and facilities in the tourism sector. This means that sustainability and the transition towards green economy, circular economy is becoming more and more important, not only from the perspective of institutions, but really from the perspective of tourists, which are going to choose preferably sustainable destinations and sustainable services instead than other services. So it's important that operators in the tourism and culture sector are able to reach a level of sustainability and to meet the new needs, let's say, of the visitors in the destination. But what can be seen as a barrier for going into this transition? For sure, a lack of skills that we all experience in different countries. The tourism sector is not yet already fit for the transition, and in many different fields it requires more skills, more knowledge, and this can be provided through different programs, of course. TRACE is one of these programs, and we will go to provide the SMEs with a training program, which is really relevant for the topics that will be addressed, which are in line with the requirements that I was saying now. And also to support this transition and this enhanced capacity and skills of the tourism operators and culture operators in general, we will also provide a grant. So I'm going to discuss more in detail and also with my colleagues about the grant that will be provided, but here just to highlight which are the objectives of this program, in which you are invited, of course, to take part. The objectives are focused on enhancing skills and capacity of 100 tourist SMEs. This is a minimum number because we will have a part of this program which is open to additional SMEs. So all those who will submit an application will be considered for a part of the program. But then the 100 best SMEs that will demonstrate the ambition and commitment into this direction of the sustainability will enter into a specific program. Another objective is to enhance also the adoption of sustainability frameworks and also certifications for sustainable tourism. This can be linked to Ecolabel, but also to EMAS certification and other kind of certification, Global Sustainable Tourism Council. We have different certification in this field, and also one part of the work with you will be addressed to identify the best level of certification that you can reach based on your current level or your current capacity, but also based on your ambition and on the kind of activities that you do. So this training will be addressed to all, but also it will have some parts of one-to-one mentoring, support, specific support, specialized support, so that you will not have general requirements for all, but we will go one by one into an analysis to understand your needs and your ambition and what can be done in your specific cases to enhance your business model, let's say in the sense of circularity and sustainability. The circular economy is an important aspect because it is something that goes even beyond sustainability by providing an integral ecological balance, let's say, of the economic activities and ecological needs, biodiversity preservation, nature resources consumption reduction, and so on. So all these aspects will be addressed, also linked to energy, water reduction, water use reduction, and many different aspects linked to environmental matters, but also sustainability and circularity is a concept that includes different dimensions. The cultural dimensions, the cultural impact of tourism, especially in small and fragile areas, and also, of course, the social and economic dimensions that will be addressed. So we will identify some key indicators that will be able to also demonstrate your effort and your transition to a next level of sustainability. To do this, we provide also a grant for each one of these 100 SMEs that will be selected, 20 in each country. So I repeat, the countries eligible are Romania, Italy, Cyprus, Belgium, and Spain. So if you're coming from those countries, you are also able not only to access the training program, but also to receive a grant up to 7,200 euro. And the categories of SMEs that can be eligible for this grant are those shown here. So all the accommodation sector, but also food, restaurant, also travel agency, and renting and leasing of vehicles. But also these categories are not mandatory because we are also open to enterprises which are coming from the cultural sector, because we know that the cultural sector is complementary to the traditional tourism facilities, which are included in those categories that you see. And for this reason, we're also open to select some enterprises which demonstrate that they're working to contribute to the cultural offer and to the tourism offer of their specific destination, but also could be out of those specific categories. I'm going to conclude because this part will be also addressed by my colleagues, just to mention what can be done with this grant. The kind of activities are, let's say, three main types of activities, and you will find all the information into the open call, so which you can download from the link in the chat. I will also repeat the link for those who are connecting later. The kind of activities that you can support through the grant are linked, first of all, to the participation to the project meetings, networking, because we will build a network that will be really active also in transferring knowledge, in transferring good practices, other enterprises who have done this pathway before us and have reached interesting results. This transfer of knowledge, this peer-to-peer learning between different enterprises, entrepreneurs that will join the program will be surely favored and promoted with travels and events, networking events which will be organized in Italy, in Romania, in Cyprus, and in Spain. This is a part of the program. Then you can use the grant for access specialized support consultancy. So also I'm speaking now to the sustainability experts that are today with us. So you can link and liaise also with the SMEs that will participate, as the grant will be used also to provide a specialized consultancy and support one-to-one to address the sustainability issues of the enterprise and to identify more in detail the actions to be done. Finally, of course, you can use the grant for accessing the sustainability certification. We know that sustainability certifications have a cost, and this cost can be supported by this grant. Then I just mentioned here a part of the program, of the training program, which will be addressed to all the enterprises participating in the call. So we will have a series of webinars, and you see different topics which are up to date, relevant, and important, I would say, in this tourism context of today, and particularly the sustainability context. We will also try to promote the networking within the territories. So building networks, building collaboration and synergies between between the enterprises, the experts of sustainability, the institutions, the partners involved, and this will lead to building a European network of innovative enterprises in the tourism sector. So our roadmap is this that I've mentioned now, and of course our effort will not end with the formal end of the project, but it will go far beyond, because this network will be not closed, but we will link with other projects, other initiatives, and of course we hope that this will be only the starting point for you to access additional support and to become the next teachers, let's say, for the enterprises in the future who will go into a next level of sustainability. So I stop here. Thank you for hearing about this presentation, and I think I can go directly to the presentation of Aliona Lupu of Iniziativa Partner. Aliona, the floor is yours.
Yes. Good afternoon. 1 second, I'll prepare everything. So thank you very much, Antonia, and also Marco, for your presentation. I will start with showing very quickly, let's say, the benefits, an overview of the benefits of Trace Open Call, in order to invite you and to incentivize you to participate to this opportunity. Probably some of you are struggling with increasing financial issues, given also to the increase of financial rates. And probably this open call will not represent, let's say, the financing that will absolutely change your business, but can for sure represent a small building block that can support you towards being more sustainable and resilient to the present, let's say, scenario. So please also keep in mind, as already mentioned by my colleagues, that there are a lot of opportunities during this period. So small funding opportunities from the European Commission can indeed support your strategy and bring you to the next level. So the Trace Open Call is indeed a program for the SMEs that provides a lot of services, a lot of training, and also a small component of grant with which you can acquire further services not envisaged in the program. So keep in mind that the value of the services provided directly by Trace, that I mean direct support and also capacity building activities, will amount around €4,000 at least. And also you will have the opportunity to enhance your network that can bring further, let's say, commercial and economic opportunities. So the Open Call was launched on 30th of March 2023 and will close at the end of June. During the period June to August, we will evaluate your proposals. And in September, the agreements between Trace Consortium and each SME will be signed, and then you will start your Trace program. And the Trace program in the first period will envisage capacity building activities that will last from October 2023 to October 2024. Then you will have a specific direct support from September 2024 to April 2025. And during the same period, from March 2024 to December 2024, you will also get the financing support for the acquisition of other services. So let's say that the application procedure is not so complex. You need to have the minimum requirements, eligibility requirements as being an SME, belonging to the tourism sector and being in one of the operating countries, as already mentioned by Antonia, but I will repeat that are Italy, Belgium, Spain, Romania, Cyprus, and other countries are only eligible for the training activities. So the first part of the application form is an administrative part where you need to fill in the name and surname of the legal representative, the name of the company, also the country you belong to, and other administrative information such as VAT, for example. You need to declare some compliances to the EU regulations, for example, like behaving fraudulent and stuff like this. You have to indicate the code of activity and then provide a very short description of the main business information if you have the website of the company and information regarding the contact person. The second part of the application form is a more descriptive one. So you need to provide 3 main parts that are directly linked with the evaluation criteria. So pay attention and try to respond to each of the points and the comments provided in the application form. So first of all, we want to know which is the SME context, your context, what type of products and services you are delivering, which is your strategy in relation to Trace project objectives, your position in the value chain, and your network. So here, please try to justify the strategy of your SME alignment to the circular tourism objectives of Trace project. The second aspect we will evaluate is relating to the expected impacts by your organization in relation to trace support program, and in particular, the impacts on your circular development. So here you need to provide information in relation to which are the pains linked to sustainability and resilience issues, and how do you think that TRACE program can indeed support you in resolving these challenges and be a concrete support. For example, in terms of obtaining the necessary sustainability certificates, or reducing your carbon footprint, or reducing the waste. Moreover, we want to know, for example, if you already been involved in previous similar projects, but also if you have obtained any awards, recognitions in relation to similar topics. Last but not least, we will also evaluate the commitment of the involved team of your organization to the program. So we would like to have your participation, active participation during the whole program from the beginning to the end. So we will evaluate for sure the people you will evidence will take part in the program. And we will also try to understand in this part of your application form, your time availability and the risk, how you will manage, let's say this in case you'll not be available for a period. Also, in order to program better all the program activities. So let's take a quick glance at the evaluation and selection procedure. First of all the applications will be checked in relation to the admissibility and eligibility criteria that have been already mentioned. Then the proposal will be evaluated according to 3 main criteria, and then we will have the final ranking and selection of the proposals. So 2 experts will evaluate remotely each proposal, and for each of the 3 criteria, different points will be given between 0 and 5. The minimum threshold per each criteria is 3. And the minimum threshold for the overall score is 9. So we tried to be, let's say, quite soft in the evaluation because we understand, let's say, the effort necessary for writing a proposal. So the criteria are linked with the information we require in the application. So first of all, the applicants must demonstrate a clear set of objectives, of their strategic objectives that are aligned with the TRACE project general objectives. The applicants must demonstrate that the expected impacts deriving from the participation to the program will support the circular development of the SME. And finally, the applicants must provide credible evidence that the project team is committed to learn and grow and has also the minimum skills necessary to be then able to implement the circular economy transition. So these are quite transparent and clear evaluation criteria. Based on this evaluation, the ranking of all the proposals will be done, and a list for each of the 5 countries will be developed. So the rules, there are 4 rules in order to organize the ranking. First of all, the applications will be ranked based on their overall score. If there are applications on the same position, then the priority will be given to the highest scores in the award criterion 1. If we still will have applications on the same position, then the priority will be to the highest score in the award criteria 2, the impact, and The last rule will be in case we still have the applications on the same position, that the priority will be given to the ones submitted earliest. So our advice is in any case to try to submit your proposal as soon as possible in order, let's say, to have more possibility to get highly ranked. So a few aspects regarding the eligible costs. As already mentioned, the project provides many training and direct support activities by TRACE Consortium. So you can use the grant that is 7,200 euro to buy other services that are not provided directly by the consortium. So you can buy, for example, services for the activities eligible under the call that were mentioned by Antonia. You can also use the grant to access the sustainability certifications, and a small part of the grant can be used for accommodation, travel, and participation fees at some events, in particular networking events under the TRACE project. There will be some study visits within the project, and of course you can spend up to 20% of the total claimed costs for traveling accommodation. So in order the cost to be reimbursed, the costs, these are more, let's say, financial rules, but still you need to keep in mind these rules. The cost must be actually incurred. You should have adequate records and documentation to prove, to demonstrate that the costs was incurred and declared. The costs shall be linked to the activities envisaged in your applications and eligible under TRACE program. Shall be reasonable and justify, in particular as regards economy and efficiency. So avoid, let's say, costs, for example, for travel in the first or business class. Pay attention to the rules, evidence in the grant, in the agreement that you will sign with the TRACE Consortium. The cost shall be incurred within the financial support program that will end in December 2024. So this means from March 2024 up to December 2024. And also you shall comply with all the other requirements in relation to the applicable national laws, but you will find more details in the agreement contract. So last but
Elena, you have a couple of minutes.
Yes, this is my last slide. Thank you. So in relation to the disbursement of the maximum amount of 7,200 euros, so 40% will be provided as pre-financing before acquiring your services, and up to 60% of the maximum amount based on the eligible cost incurred will be paid when the activities are completed and the final report will be provided to TRACE Consortium. So you will receive the money in 2 tranches. What is important is that a participation will be required in at least 90% of the activities provided by TRACE program. If there are some exceptions, we need to analyze them, but this will be a rather general rule for all the SMEs. So don't forget about the deadline, June 30th, 2023, 5 o'clock CET. And for any question you have, please use the email you see on this slide. We will try to provide you any support you need. And my invite is to become one of the 800 SMEs supported by this call of the European Commission. So good luck to all in the application. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Aliona. Okay, so if you have any question, again, write in the chat or in the box, in the dedicated box with the question and answer. I know that all of you have also linked with the local partners in the different countries, so eventually you could have had already a discussion with them in your language and so on. But in any case, if you still have questions, you can write. Okay, so now I give the floor to Ruba Saleh, who will provide an overview of the training program, which will be led by ISHEC for all the 100 SMEs. So Ruba, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Antonia, for the introduction. I will start my presentation now. Yes. Thank you very much to our project officer, Marco Riacquitti, for being with us today, and for Antonia and Aliona for their very detailed and useful presentations for you to take into consideration whether to take this entrepreneurial journey with us or no. I really hope, we all really hope to have you on board. And this is why I would like to explain what we are going to do in terms of capacity building, awareness raising, and sustainability plan. Bearing in mind that 2023 is the European Year of Skills, so this is a critical moment for upskilling and reskilling at the European level. Please take advantage of this very important opportunity. So what we will be doing as ISHEC, we are a business school based in Brussels, highly specialized in not only sustainable entrepreneurship, but also impactful one in terms of positive impacts for the enterprise itself and on the ecosystem where it operates. What we will be doing is to lead an action learning training, which will embrace and embed the sustainable development goals throughout the entire value chain of your enterprise. So we will revisit together with you your business model, and we will discuss your financial drivers and future forecasts. In order to do this, we would like to kindly ask you to attend all our training sessions by having at least one permanent contact person attending the sessions. So what we aim to do is to have a monthly training session, an online monthly training session for the 100 SMEs. The duration of the session is of 2 hours 30, and after the session you will have 1 month to complete your assignments. The models which we will be introducing are, the first one will be regarding how to become a flourishing tourism SME by taking into account a regenerative perspective and positive impacts. The second model will focus specifically on how to transform your SME into a circular one by applying and embedding the greenhouse gas protocol, while the third one will be dedicated to SMEs resilience. The fourth model will be dedicated to a very important topic, actually, which Marco was speaking about previously, which is digitization and integration of new technologies. However, our training, action learning training journey doesn't stop here. We also foresee 2 full working days where during the first day, we will be setting the solution and trying to introduce, you will be actually introducing innovative solutions for your SME, while on the second day, you will be revisiting the solution by developing an operational roadmap, financial plan, and of course, your future impacts. For this specific part of the training, Of course, you need to be at least one person from your SME, but it would be even better if you can come with more people. As the more the merrier, because it's really important for the design thinking process to be in more people to develop the ideas. What we also be doing, which Antonia mentioned previously, is to raise awareness. This is not only addressing our 100 SMEs, but this is even open to more SMEs in Europe. We are actually targeting 400 SMEs and DMOs, and not only from the 5 countries, but this is open to all European countries. These webinars will be for free and will have a duration of 1 hour 30, where we will host international keynote speakers specialized in every topic. So the first webinars will take place always on Thursdays from 3:30 to 5. The first webinar will be tackling how to ignite a sustainable business practice in the tourism sector, while the second one will be more about defining the future business opportunities for the tourism sector. The third will be about boosting digitization and integration of new technologies. The fourth will tackle how to strengthen and enable an enabling environment for circular tourism and enhance resilience, while the fourth will be about allowing a better stakeholder engagement. As Antonia already mentioned, there will be also study visits and local matchmaking in our 4 DMOs. So at least one study visit will take place in Spain, in Italy, in Cyprus, and in Romania. The objective is to showcase best practices and exchange in these pilot regions in order to enhance and boost sustainable and circular tourism practices. In addition to the study visit, at least one matchmaking event is foreseen in these 4 pilot areas, with the objective, of course, of raising awareness of existing innovative offers, but also, most importantly, to boost cooperation and trigger new business agreements within the tourism ecosystem in the region. In addition to the Action Learning program, we also foresee mentoring sessions where you will have the opportunity to exchange between yourselves, the 100 SMEs. It's conceived as a peer learning experience, but also as a moment of cross-fertilization where experiences will be exchanged and where we will be also providing you with mentoring and, of course, advice. Thank you very much for your attention, and we look forward to welcoming you on board of this very exciting project.
Thank you very much, Ruba. So I welcome back all the speakers now for the Q&A sessions. So I see that there are some questions in the chat and in the Q&A box. So if you agree, I would group a little bit those questions by topic. So perhaps we can start with the questions more related to the training. So the last presentation from Ruba. There are a couple of questions. Is there a possibility to hold the sessions in the afternoon? I think yes, but I'll leave this answer to Ruba.
Yes, this is a very good question, actually. Some SMEs prefer to start very early in order to dedicate the rest of their day to their daily practices. Others maybe prefer to have the training at the end of the day. What we can do is to combine both. So maybe a couple of sessions might take place very early in the morning and a couple of sessions might take place at the end of the afternoon. What we can do is once we have the 100 SMEs, we can send a questionnaire and ask for your opinions. And based on that, we can agree on how to shift the time slots.
Great, thank you, Ruba, for this clarification. We are also on a different time zones, not very different because it's just 1 hour, but in any case, we will arrange in a way that everyone is able, of course, to take part in the training. So then we have another question. What kind of initiatives are foreseen under digitalization and integration of new technologies? So I guess this is also for Ruba.
Well, we're not speaking about initiatives, but we would like to introduce some breaking through existing practices to learn from and to be inspired by. So this is what we mean of what exists at the moment, but also how to better decide what kind of technology is best for your SMEs, because there's plenty of them. They have different costs, they have different customers, and you also have different needs. So a list of potential innovations will be presented, and we will discuss according to your needs what would be the most appropriate solution to be embedded in your SME.
Great. So I think that you answered the question, but in any case, if you still need clarification, let's continue writing in the chat. Or if you want to raise your hand, of course, it's also possible to intervene by opening your microphone. Okay, this is possible. Another question is about the capacity of the SME to take part in all these training activities which are in English and so on. First I give a general answer. The activities of this training part will be in English, and it is required that the SME have the capacity to work in English. However, the question is about if the enterprise can be supported by an external person that can help by following all the training session and liaising with the enterprise. So if you want to be supported because you don't have the internal expertise, or you don't have the time eventually, or you are only few people in the work, so it is also possible to have an external person, so you can be supported. It is important that this person that will take part on behalf of the enterprise is really linked to the enterprise and will work side by side, because it is not a training addressed to sustainability experts in general, but it is addressed to make a work with the SME that will impact internally and directly the general organization of the SME. So this is my general answer, but I also ask Ruba eventually to complement about this point.
Yes, I agree actually with your answer, Antonia. If they feel like asking an external person to follow the training for them, it's okay. However, it's really important that this person can decide on behalf of the SME, because as I said, it's an action learning, it's a hands-on exercise. So a business model needs to be revisited. An external person who doesn't have an internal insight about your business model, what are your needs, what is your vision for the future, etc. It might be difficult to complete and achieve perfectly the exercise. So it's up to them to decide, but there might be some critical aspects in this regard.
Yes, I would also give a suggestion on this aspect, because this is one of the questions in the application form about the capacity of the SME to really take part into the training activities. So if you don't have one person internally into the SME that can take part, please explain this very clearly into the application form, that you want to be supported by an external person which has a knowledge of your enterprise and which will work side by side with you. Okay, so let's explain this point, because this is one criteria of evaluation, the capacity, of course, of the enterprise to get at the end of the process with really something useful for the SME that is participating in the program. And this links also with another question which was raising now regarding the way in which the program will be conducted. So the SME need to take action during and after each of the training session, right, Ruba?
Yes, correct. Yes, correct.
Yeah. Okay, so you will have, let's say, assignments after each training session, and step by step we will support you and lead you to reaching targets and objectives that are set in the training program. So you will not be abandoned alone, but of course it will be promoted, first of all, collaboration between the different SMEs. So as Ruba was also saying, it would be great that you can join and work together, physically or online, but really working together and sharing the difficulties between each other. So it will be really a collaborative work. There will be mentoring sessions. There will be the support from the local partners. If you have some difficulties also in the language and so on, of course, there will be a support. But at the end, we will support you step by step in conducting all the activities of the training. So I think that we answered. If you have any question about this, let us know. If you have still any doubts. There are also other questions regarding different topic. Let's wait. Okay, because it's rising some other question regarding the training program. Regarding, I read, okay, regarding the external person assistance, in my case, my mother manages a rural tourism accommodation, great, but she doesn't speak English. So there is a full-time work that you are doing. So would I be considered an external person? So let's just explain this in the application form. This is my suggestion. So of course, small enterprises can be family enterprises. So you will need some external person, but can be a person of the family. This is not important. What is important is that the person following the training is really knowledgeable about the situation of the enterprise and can really do a work with the owner or the manager of the enterprise. And also with the staff involved in enterprise, because this is not only a work with the manager, it really involves also the staff in some parts of this activity. Okay, so for now, I just ask the other speakers if you want to provide complementary information or reflection on this. So if not, I would go back to the other questions which were written before, actually, and are regarding the external advisory expertise that can be supported also through the grant. So the 7,200 euro can be used for accessing the support of a specialized expert consultant. Is there a catalog of consultants? Or can SMEs choose freely their experts? The answer is yes. Each SME can choose its own expert, so there is not a predefined list of experts that you need to pick up from. However, all the local partners are also involved in identifying experts who have really an experience, who have eventually conducted previous activities in other projects. So if you don't have an expert by your own and you want to receive advice on who can be your consultant to support in the process, you can also address the question to your local coordinators in Romania, in Cyprus, in Italy, Spain, and Belgium. So we will be able to refer to the experts that are in the network of the project. So eventually we'll also have a list for those SMEs who don't know directly an expert. So you don't have already a contact, so you want to be supported by the project in this sense. So we will provide you the contacts and you will choose. But if you already know the expert or you will address an expert that can support you, this is free, up to you to choose which one is more suitable for your needs. Okay, so this is the first answer. Then
Antonia,
Marco,
maybe if I
yes.
can intervene on that, of course, it's very useful also the support that you provide in terms of selecting an experts when it comes to an independent selection of the experts of the SME. Would also suggest that the SME does the proper check also with the organization in the country to double check if indeed the consultancy services and also the collaboration and the service that the SME will be benefiting from is in line with the aim of the project, with the topics of the project. So one way there is the suggestion of course, the partners organization about consultants. On the other way around, the SMEs maybe can select a consultant, but I would also and always advise to double check and counter check between the SMEs and the partners organization about the aim also of this of such services.
Yes, great. Thank you very much. And Aliona, also you want to provide some additional information on that?
Yes, and also trying to respond to the question in the Q&A, the second part indeed. Yes. And the SMEs has to pay first the expert and then to get the reimbursement. So as I mentioned, there will be pre-financing of 40%, okay, before acquiring the service. But in order to get the pre-financing, you need to provide an inception report, a very small one, where you identify what type of service do you want to acquire. You propose your supplier, okay, from the catalog, let's say, that we will provide, or from your local network. We will make some check on the supplier, and if there aren't any issue, we maximum can ask a curriculum vitae of the expert, for example, or a brochure of the company. We will check probably the website, for example, the LinkedIn profile, something like that. We will let's say have some very simple rules in order to check if everything is okay with the supplier. We will give you, okay, it seems coherent with the eligible activities of the call. You can go on with acquiring the service. You will get pre-financing, so you will have to support, let's say, paying your supplier. Then you will report to us the service acquired, and you will get the 60% remaining, the reimbursement. What is important that we will provide our okay on the services you want to acquire in order to avoid then having some not nice, let's say, surprises of non-reimbursement of your costs. So if everything is according to the inception report you provided, then you very probably you'll have all the costs reimbursed. I hope it is clear, otherwise I can repeat some aspect.
Yes, so it's I think it's clear because I don't see other questions, but we have still some few minutes if you want to reflect, if you're looking at the call and you want to have additional clarification on certain aspects. What I can add is that we will support you step by step also in the use of the grant, in the acquisition of services, of consultancy and so on. So you will have our double check and our okay on the services that you want to buy, so that you will be sure that it is in line with the requirements of the project. So if it is some proposals are not in line, of course, we will discuss and we will find a way that is suitable to your needs and it is in line with the rules and requirements. So perhaps there was just one small request still regarding the catalog of certifications. And if they are in the Annex 2. We will have pre-assessment of your needs to understand which are the certification that you already know. If you already had a process of starting a certification path or eventually to learning, understanding about this kind of certification of sustainability, then we will know from which point you're starting. This will be just a pre-assessment of your needs, and we will check your knowledge about this. However, more insights on the different kind of certifications will be provided during the training, and we will give you all the information regarding the different typology of certification, to which kind of actor of organization this is addressed, because there are some certifications that are addressed at the destination level, so the entire territory, and other certifications which are really focused on the enterprise, on the SME. So it will depend. It also can depend on the type of activity. So certification that can be more suitable to hotel or to another kind of activity, to restaurant, to travel agency. So there are really, the scenario is wide and diversified. Of course, the European certification are really important in our program. Let's say the EU Ecolabel, the EMA certification. We will check the level of complexity for your SME and what you can achieve based on your starting point. There's also another point that I can integrate here, because it was coming from different other meetings that we had at local level, about the level of capacity, the starting point of the SME. You have in the application form a section in which you write your previous experience, your background, how is your knowledge, your capacity so far. Our aim is not to take only the SMEs who have already all the knowledge about these aspects. So it is important to give support exactly to those SMEs who have an ambition, who want to go through this sustainability path, but eventually they don't have at the moment the knowledge for doing this. So I would suggest all of you to really describe in your application which is your ambition, which is your commitment, how you want to reach to point 1 to point 2. Yeah, so what is your program, your expectation for the project? So that we select these enterprises which are really motivated to enhance their capacity into the sustainability aspect. I don't know if the other speakers want to say something more about this.
Just to justify why the financial support is not coming in September 2023, we have this program that will allow you to better identify what are your needs and how you can satisfy them through the services provided by Trace, but also externally. So this is the reason why you will get financing a little bit later. Just, I think it was necessary to justify this discrepancy between the agreement signature in September 2023 and the starting of the financing part in 2024.
Yes, it's a very important clarification also for the organization of the work. Okay. Just to be super sure if there are any other questions, if some other reflections, doubt raise in your mind after this webinar, you can write to the support email, which was shown by Aliona, which you will find, of course, in the call text. I think you all have received also the direct link to the call, to the project. So all requirements, all specifications are written in the call. And again, thank you, Aliona. So the email is support@iniziativa.cc. Okay, you find it also in the chat for any other thing. So again, our suggestion is to not wait the last minute for the application, because any doubt, then we don't have the time to support you. So it's better to do it as early as possible, so that if you find something difficult, something is not clear for you, the question in the application, that you can still ask to your local coordinator or to the support email, or to us directly. Of course, any way is suitable, and we will provide an answer. I also suggest to follow the social media pages, because in the social media is a very quick way for us to provide information, any burning news about the program. So if you have not yet accessed it, just follow the links that we have put in the chat. And you will always have all the latest news updated by us, by the project consortium. And I think that if there are no other questions, I can thank very much the speakers of today, Marco Iaquito from European Commission ESMEA Agency, Aliona Lupo from Iniziativa Cube, Ruba Saleh from ISHEC Brussels Management School. I also thank my director, who needed to leave, but sends many greetings to all of you, and thanks also from her side, from Costanza, to all the people participating today. And congratulations to you attending until the end of the webinar, and having this willingness to go into this more advanced state, let's say, of your activity, of your business activity, to next into the future, let's say, because this will be really some important aspects into the near future and in the present. So thank you again to all, and we will meet again, I hope, for the 100 SMEs selected into the program.